After 3 days of rough sailing from Seychelles, we now find ourselves becalmed and drifting, waiting for wind in the Mozambique Channel, with not a care in the world. Palmau.
That is until we were called up on the VHF radio and threatened with a fine by an island that, according to the chart, is a nature reserve.
We would have to ask you to come into the island to get a fine, because it's a military terrain of France.
We're trying to sail to the island of Mayotte, a French African island in the Mozambique Channel, where we hope to be allowed ashore. But as they've not responded to any of our messages, we don't really know what's going to happen when we arrive.
We are Matt and Amy. We left England in 2016 on a mission to sail around the world. Just the two of us on our 37-foot sailboat, Florence. 5 years on, we have sailed over 35,000 miles across 3 oceans, exploring new countries and cultures along the way.
We are on our way to Mayotte. There is just no wind, so we will be drifting for a while until the wind comes back. Over.
Florence, this is Glorious. Thank you.
No worries. Florence standing by, channel 16. Just got called up by what I assume is the French authorities on Gloriosa, the island just here. Asked us what our intentions are, because I think you have to get special permission to stop at the island, but we reassured them, don't worry, we're just going to sit here and drift. Don't want to get into trouble and then not be allowed ashore in Mayotte because we stopped somewhere else on the way. There is no wind. So we're taking the spinnaker down because it was just flapping around. And we could turn the engine on and start motoring. It's about 140 miles to go, but if we start motoring now, we'll only get there in time for it to get dark tomorrow night. So there's no real point in that. There's supposed to be some wind coming in about 6 hours time, maybe 5 hours time. So we're just going to drift like this for the next few hours and see if that wind appears. And if there's still no wind appears then, and we get to the point where motoring will get us there in daylight, in a day and a night from now, a day and 2 nights from now, then we'll turn the engine on. But at the moment we're just going to drift and hope some wind comes and enables us to carry on sailing a bit. But it's just glassy calm.
After a rough few days to this point, with little sleep on the passage from Seychelles, this is an ideal chance for us to relax and recover.
It's a bit different to last night. Last night I couldn't sleep because Florence was leaping off of waves at 6 or so knots, going on a almost upwind course. Every now and then a big set of waves came through and she just leapt off them, and tensing in my bunk when I felt us get airborne and then crash down. I couldn't do much about that other than slow right down, which we didn't really want to do. And tonight we've got the opposite. Drifty. But that slamming mainsail is really annoying really fast. I guess we could take it down, but then we'll roll even more. Amy's just popped up out of the hatch with the camera in her hand. It's pretty beautiful for night for not going anywhere. Can't resist an opportunity like this.
How is it?
It's refreshing, it's lovely. Absolutely lovely. What is it, 2,000 metres deep here? Oh.
So clear.
Good job I put some swim shorts on there. Palmau. Didn't bargain for a
sunset dip this evening. I'll take that. Gotta take it when you can get it. Pretty good view.
Suddenly, our peaceful evening was interrupted by the voice on the radio.
Close to the island, and we really need you to move out as much as you can during the next hour, or else we would have to ask you to come into the island to get a fine, because it's a military terrain of France.
How far away from the island do we need to be?
Okay, sir. What distance is required between us and the island? Over.
Glorious, we would ask you to at least be 20 kilometers away from the island. Over.
I will have to motor. I can only motor at 5 knots. That is my maximum engine speed. I cannot move that distance in 1 hour. It is impossible. Over.
This is Glorious. Okay, I understand. I will talk with the gendarmerie and I will give you an answer in the next 5 minutes. Over.
Guess we have to turn on the engine and motor away. It's not very friendly, is it? I mean, we're 6 miles away from the island. We're not even pointing at it. We're pointing past. There's no wind. It doesn't say on the chart that you can't approach because it's a military base or anything like that.
So it's a nature reserve?
Yes, this is a nature reserve.
Florence, this is Glorious. Over.
Glorious, this is Florence. Go ahead. Over.
Florence, this is Glorious. It's okay for us, as long as you start moving, we would observe, and once you go, it's no problem for us. Over.
I guess we motor for a bit.
Yeah, I guess so.
Glorious, this is Florence. I will turn on my engine. I will motor towards Mayotte. Over. If he doesn't hear anything, he'll see this.
Florence, this is Glorious.
Yeah.
Glorious, this is Florence. I am now under engine, making best speed away from the island. Over.
Glorious, thank you very much. Over and out.
Wow.
Florence, this is Glorious. We also are keeping you under observation just until we no longer see you inside. Over.
That is ridiculous. I don't know what they're doing there.
Florence, this is Glorious. Over and out.
Whatever. I'm just checking the chart just to see if it does say it's a military base. And it says it's a marine nature reserve. So we knew we weren't supposed to anchor there, but we're in very deep water, over 2,000 meters deep. And we're over 6 miles away from the island. Well, I guess we don't really want a fine, and we don't have to motor 6 miles in to get a fine. And they'll just tell Mayotte that we've done something wrong, so you got to obey the rules, even if you don't know what the rules are. But that wasn't very friendly.
There's actually a few islands down the Mozambique Channel, part of the Scattered Isles, which belong to France, and a few of the others further south, but also mentioned as a nature reserve. But at least we know now that they are definitely not options for anchoring off if we get any bad weather coming further down the Mozambique Channel, because I'm not entirely sure what the French military are up to, but they certainly don't want us anywhere near. We were supposed to go into our night watches about an hour and a half ago, and I'm going to have to be up in an hour and a half, but it's just so beautiful this evening that I don't want to go to bed. We've just changed over watch, but if I wasn't so tired, I would happily stay on deck for most of the evening this evening. It is absolutely stunning. As we were motoring away from the island, the stars were so bright and the water was so flat that the stars were reflecting in the ocean. And I played around with the camera, and unfortunately we were moving around too much to be able to get it on camera, but I hope that I got a little bit of the bioluminescence that we had in the water. As Florence was moving through the water, it just creates this like really sparkly wake and trail behind us. It's beautiful. It won't come out anywhere near as bright as it is in real life, but if you haven't seen it before, hopefully it'll just give you a bit of a taste of what it's like. We had to motor for a couple of hours to get further away from the island, but since then the breeze has actually filled in to the point where we've got 5 knots and we've been sailing for the last couple of hours, so hopefully this will stay. We're not making a huge amount of progress, but it's fast enough to allow us to get to Mayotte hopefully in daylight, so 2 more this night and 1 more night at sea. We've had such a fantastic day for sailing today. I can't believe how lucky we've got with this weather window to get down in what is normally a fairly tricky passage. We've just had amazing conditions. I know the first few days were a bit rough and uncomfortable, but this is just fantastic. Life on board is so much easier when the sea state is flat like this. We've both got so much more energy today, and we've actually spent some time together just like chatting in the cockpit, which for the last few days we just haven't had the energy for. We've literally just been switching between watches and sleeping. Even if we're not able to stop everywhere that we'd hope to, it still just feels fantastic to be sailing down the Mozambique Channel. I feel very, very lucky today.
Well, after a beautiful day sailing today, we are nearly there. Hopefully we'll get there sometime in the morning. We're only doing, what, 3.5 knots at the moment, so probably mid to late morning, but I expect the breeze is going to die tonight and we'll have to motor. If sailing across oceans was like this all the time, everybody would be out here doing it, but it's not. Only 2 nights ago we were launching off a wave and smashing down and sort of tensing ourselves in our bunks, waiting for the crash of landing. And yeah, it's always a bit of everything all mixed together, but we always remember the best bits. So it's just after dawn. We had a really good night's sail. The light wind stayed just enough to keep sailing all night in really nice smooth water, but unfortunately at dawn this morning the wind just dropped off and shifted round, so it was coming directly from where we want to go. And also there's a current that's against us as well, so we decided to turn on the engine. We're only 10 miles away from the pass into the lagoon at Mayotte now, and you can probably just see behind me the hills and the mountains of Mayotte. So we've got 10 miles to go until the pass, and there's another 15 miles once we're inside. It's one of the biggest lagoons in the world. So hopefully we'll get the anchor down just before lunch, and then that gives us the rest of the afternoon to try and work out what we need to do with formalities for checking in here, and to find out if we're actually allowed to get ashore and explore, which I really hope we are. Mayotte is French, so we've got the French courtesy flag and then our Q flag, which we have to put up when we arrive in a new country.
That's nice, we've got a sun flare from your head. We're just approaching the small island where the anchorage is, and we still don't know what the deal is, whether or not we're going to be allowed ashore, but it just feels so good still to be arriving somewhere new. Even if we're not allowed ashore and we just have to anchor until we get the next good weather window down to South Africa, it feels really good to have made some progress for that passage. If we're not allowed ashore, we've got plenty to do on the boat. We've got at least 2 weeks of video editing to catch up on, although it might be a bit tricky if we can't get any internet.
There's absolutely loads of yachts here. We haven't seen this many yachts for a long time. Well, I guess there are quite a few in Seychelles, but not as many anchored out like this. And we recognised some boats that were in Seychelles that have sailed onto here, and they're anchored quite a long way from everybody, so I don't know, that doesn't bode well for the being allowed ashore. It looks like they're kind of anchored off in isolation, but I guess we'll find out. We can maybe motor alongside them and ask them.
Do we have this quarantine? Do you know? No. Okay. Okay. Ah, okay. We'll anchor and then we'll... Yeah. Ready?
Yeah. Cool, we're here.
Yeah. Nice. Safe passage.
Yeah, no major damage, always good. Now just got to find out if we can go ashore. Apparently we can go ashore, although we have to get quarantined first, but we just spoke to one of the other boats on the way in and they are allowed ashore, so that's really good news.
We've got no idea how long the quarantine is, and they say they're having difficulty contacting the authorities, but I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. Next time we set foot ashore to explore Mayotte.
Join us as we explore this amazing and little known part of France in the Indian Ocean, home to lemurs, baobab trees and a French-African cultural mix, all encompassed by the third largest lagoon in the world. A great place to pause and recover before we sail on down the Mozambique Channel. As always, we want to thank everybody who supports us, and we just wanted to show one of the many ways in which your support is helping us to share and improve these videos.
Your support has enabled us to replace our old video camera, which was failing after all of the humidity in the tropics and actually refusing to work at times, and replace it with this, a much more capable camera. This camera is a huge step up in terms of quality and performance, and would have never have been able to even dream of owning a camera of this calibre without your support. It's a lot more complicated to set up, but we're already noticing a huge difference in terms of the image quality, and we're really excited to learn more about it and to share more with you. We've actually been using this camera in the last two videos, so this video and the previous one, so if you've noticed any improvement yourself, you can let us know in the comments.
Thank you very much to everybody who supports us. If you'd like to join the crew on Patreon, then there's a link above here. And if you'd like to support us in some other way, then you can click on the link in the description below to our website and find out how there.